So as you recall, I took a ride with some guys and I had to meet them here because of this board I had. Basically, I have OneWheel Plus, and this ride was mainly downhill, and then coming back, it was going to be all uphill. One of the guys was graciously let me use his board for the rest of the way, because at this point, my battery was way low. And so he's like, well, why don't you try my board? So I rode his OneWheel XR, and he rode my board because he was so much lighter. And by the time we got back, it was only at 14%. This gave me the idea that I needed to upgrade and do something to get my range worked out. There's been lots of reviews saying that the 2X system was good, and it doubled your range. It was really good. It almost met the specs of an XR. So I was thinking that I was going to order the 2X system. In this video, I have a link to my install of the 2X system. So taking out the old battery and putting in the new wires and the new battery inside and doing all the internals was a little bit taxing and not for the faint of heart, but everything worked out and I was able to put it in with no problems. So here it is on my board. Now, the original ride was supposed to be 6 miles, and it happened in Pullen Park in Raleigh, North Carolina. So right here is where they normally would meet, and so I decided to meet up with them on another ride. And so with the 2X system, I thought that I could probably do this ride with no problem. It was going to be about 6 miles. On my original Plus, without the 2X, I could only do about 5 miles. You know, I weigh about 285, and so my weight would keep me from getting the mileage that I need, even with pumping up my tire. Now, they both had OneWheel XRs, and I wasn't as fast as them.
It's a battery inside as well as two on the bottom?
Yeah.
That's cool. What's the total you can get out of that?
I don't know. We're testing it right now.
So we were back on the road again, and this is where I would normally have to meet them. But it was about 2 miles to this spot, and we continued on our way. One of the great things about the OneWheel is that you can just sit there and talk and have a good time while you're riding. So I looked at my app. The app says it was 34% after 2.3 miles. But the app is really only looking at the inside battery, not the 2 satellite packs. So we continued on. I looked at it again, 17% after 3.5 miles.
You're definitely going faster than you have been.
Yeah. That's 17%.
Are you really?
Yeah. But it could go down to 1 and stay there.
You got like a mile and a half to go.
And looking at it again now, it says about 5% after 4.4 miles. And finally, now it's at 1%. But the voltage here is the most important thing. So if I go to the board settings and then look at the voltage, it says 52.3 volts. Now there's a little guide that says, you know, at 54 volts, a little bit above that, you're full, but at 52, you're at 50%. So looking at the OneWheel app for the 2X and my weight, the voltage going from 100% down to about 1% on the OneWheel app is you have about 52 volts left. That means you have about 50% more to go. So I figure I can do 5.2 miles at 52 volts and then down to 48 volts and all the way down to 42 volts when it stops. You know, the board will push you back when it runs out of battery. So we got back on the ride again. You know, basically I was at 1%, just taking it easy, you know, going about 12 miles an hour. No big deal. And we got to our destination with no problem.
All right, well, you made it.
Woo! Nicely done.
So while we were here, I charged the battery back up to about 77%, and we got back on our way. But after going up the hill for about 1.5 miles, the battery's back down to 1%. So that basically meant that the rest of the trip was about 4.5 miles at 1%. But we made it all back just in fine, and I still had voltage left to spare.
So I'm going to try and work out the battery. I only have 1% left on my OneWheel, and I think that I can go ahead and ride another 6 miles on it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you the OneWheel app, and you can see that's at 1%. I'm going to switch it back to mission, and then go to the board settings, and you can see I'm at 52.2 volts down here on the battery voltage. So I'm going to go ahead and test that now. I'll be closely watching the voltage, and we'll see how it goes. I'll be working out, making sure that the voltage doesn't get below 48 volts, because that's when it starts getting down to about 4 or 5%, and one will get really squirrely about that. All right, so
as I started riding, I looked at my voltage, and it said 50.5 volts. Now that was kind of strange. So about 1.2 miles afterwards, I took a look at it again, and it was at 51.2 volts. And then after I stopped after 2 miles, it was at 51 volts.
all right, we're still at 51 volts and 1%, and I'm going to keep on riding this until I get it down, maybe 48 volts, and we'll look at it then.
So now after 1.7 miles, again, I look at the voltage, and it's now to 47.4 volts. And the power button is not giving any kind of error, it's just being normal.
So it's still going strong, but it's at 47.4 volts. I think I should stop now. So altogether, my with the voltage, with my weight, I can do 9.7 miles, maybe a little bit more, but that's pretty good. Probably on a flat road, I can probably do a lot more, but the hills and everything like that drain my battery a heck of a lot more. So I'm pretty pleased to be able to get 9 miles out of it, from 6 to 9 on the hilly roads. I'll take it.